I mean, the idea that this came about, I think we kind of talked about it in the beginning, but we're just trying to like create community through stories that people like want to share about either their community or how Ramadan like is something that's like integral into creating a community or I think that's really, like all Ramadan is to me is like the most community driven like holiday that I can like think of. The whole thing is there's a lot of it is being around others that are also I think trying to like make the most of like 30 days. So that can be either through going, to prayer all night long or being or like when you're a teen, you're just going to IHOP at 4 a.m. because before you like go, start fasting the whole day. And like I think it also like is the time where most family comes together because when it gets to break fast, usually you're like either helping or coming home to like a meal. But let me think. I'm trying to think. Like I don't have like a specific story that I can think of. Like if someone else wants to tell a story or do some kind of like oral history, maybe I'll get an idea. But a lot of it is, yeah, I think a lot of what Ramadan means to me is having like a lot of people around you for better or worse. But right now, I think the definition of Ramadan, like it is something that's like changing for me personally, but probably for everybody else because like people might not be around their families right now. They might be learning that they're, how to cook for the first time. Like they might be learning, just like a lot about themselves, like spiritually, but also just like the mechanics of not having eaten all day and then like having to like provide for yourself. So that's why I'm happy that we're doing the oral history. I'm especially happy that we're gonna do this that we're gonna do these the food series as well. But all in all, like even this right now of like the 9 of us like in this room, it definitely feels like there is like a community and there is something to like just like I don't know talk like talk like shit about or talk shit with or just like or like go in depth into like what this time means to me or you. Okay, I'm muting. Someone else gotta talk.
All right, cool.
Even just say like what's brought you guys here. Like I feel like the three of us have had like extensive like conversation as to what you know means to us or what it brings. But like even Jake, Luigi, Taba, Michaela, Sorry, Lele, you can even like you know speak on this. Like I think after maybe Zenat and Sachi like give a bit, I would love to hear what you guys what what this means for you guys. So
Yeah. I've always had I don't know, I think our conversation when we first started talking about this like a few weeks ago, it kind of helped me break the silence about how I feel about all this, like this is the first time I'm not doing it and like not being around my entire family. And also it's like the first time I'm observing in like 5 years. Because I'm not as religious as one would try to be during Ramadan, but I think it's the spiritualityness of it, of it has made me a lot more level-headed about this. Even like bringing spirituality into food and being grateful and having gratitude, all that kind of stuff. And I feel like because my relationship to the religion is so it's so tumultuous, and I've always had to deal with how to approach it. And I think this year it's kind of helping me understand that it's just whatever I want it to be. So I don't have to pray 5 times a day, but I can try to even like look inward and maybe meditate. But there's a lot of time with the self, and I think being able to create a relationship around like what it means to actually get away from your indulgences for 24 hours, and also being sober during this time is also kind of hard too. It's really extremely difficult to be like face to face with all your issues as well. So I think that, and the aspect of not even the element of not eating, and there's no, no water or anything either. It just, you think about what else nourishes you, and it could be like things that you read, or things that, like, even like the walks that you take, or the interactions that you have, that can be very fruitful. So I think that's why I'm so appreciative of this kind of space that we're in today, just because, like every day I've kind of just been like doing it by myself, and now it's like I can do it around all these amazing folks, and I can count down, and because the last hour is really the hardest, you guys. And so I'm happy that we're here together and we don't have to count it down. All right, Sachi, if you want to go, I'll mute myself.
We're here for you, for both of you, all of you. But when we initiated this whole kind of program idea, I think the main thing that we were all thinking of was a way to cultivate space. Amel and I had talked about kind of posing an understanding of Islam and the way that it's kind of shared and observed around the world. And my family is from Eritrea, and her family's from Somalia. And so there are two neighboring countries that observe different kinds of things because of the occupation in my country. My grandparents grew up Catholic, but a majority of the country, or a part of the country, observes Islam. And so there are some aspects of both cultures, like in the way that my grandparents make tea or coffee, or the way that they, some of their cultural nuances are kind of shared with a lot of Middle Eastern culture, and in observation of some Muslim traditions. Even though I wasn't specifically raised that way, I feel like some of the cultural similarities are really near and dear to my heart. So I'm just going to jump in and tell a story of a time that I kind of shared community with this kind of distant but close relative community in my neighborhood. I grew up in Clifton, New Jersey. I was born in Texas, but, raised in New Jersey. And there was one night, random night in the early spring, that my dad and I were up super late. And I think I was in college, and it was nearing the end of my semester. And my sister was also up at that time. My parents didn't have a lot of money at this time, so they had this gold hoopty station wagon. And it was disgusting. I drove the car most of the time to and from my classes. I was living at home for a short period of time because I was doing a lot of work in the city. And so we all hop in this hoopty. It's like maybe 2 a.m. My dad is like really craving some kind of patty melt. And there's like, basically the bottom of the car is almost rusted out. And it's the kind of car that you have to like turn maybe 3 or 4 times before the engine even starts. And we all hop in this car at 2 a.m. We're driving around my neighborhood, and in my neighborhood there was this place called 21 Egg Platter, which was this giant train car looking big machine sort of thing. It looked like a Winnebago, but it wasn't. It was a restaurant. It was completely parked. It was parked on top of a concrete foundation. I'm going to see if I can pull up a picture of it. It looks like I should have done this earlier. In Clifton, New Jersey, 21 Egg Platter. And we pull up there, and my dad's like, this is the place. It was open weird hours, the way that some diners are, if you're familiar with diner culture. So it would open at maybe 4 p.m. and stay open till 4 a.m. And that was the only time you could eat there. So we pull up there, and my dad grabs a patty melt, and I'm eating a milkshake and some kind of grilled cheese situation. And we're all just kind of sharing this late night meal. I know my dad worked really hard and didn't really eat during the day. So when he was hungry, if we were able to tag along and share a lot of time with him in those wee morning hours, that was really special for my sister and I. And my dad was always really out there and always trying to kind of give us a sense of empowerment through just feeling like we could connect with anybody anybody else and share space with other people, and trying to like break down the walls of fear from like being able to introduce ourselves or plop ourselves in any place and feel comfortable in any situation. So 21 egg platter, midnight or 2 a.m. meal is over, and we're walking around this neighborhood, which was at the time like a smorgasbord of Clifton is weird. It borders on a bunch of different kinds of socioeconomic areas, or like people who are super wealthy live like near the top of Clifton, and people who are not so wealthy live in Clifton, and then all the bordering neighborhoods down at the bottom of Clifton are not are like low income areas, but have a really large diverse group of people from all over the world. So like a lot of my best friends growing up are Pakistani, and that's kind of where I was able to share and their experiences in Ramadan. So we're walking around, and there's a huge late night Ramadan party going on in this center, just like the whole parking lot filled with food and people sharing meals. And we walk in, people are welcoming us and greeting us, and we sat down and kind of picked up sweets and dates and all kinds of cookies and cakes, and just to be invited into this cultural celebration with open arms and be, you know, accepted and allowed to participate in such a sacred moment of people sharing communion with each other was really special for me. And also kind of like an echo of what my father was trying to share with us in that one moment, but just like waking us up in the middle of the night and being like, I'm gonna get a burger, you want to come? So yeah, I really miss my parents right now. I can't see them because I'm running around the city and I just feel like it's not safe. But that was a really special moment that I shared with them, and felt like it represents a lot of what I've shared with you all at 8 Ball and in the city, and you know, appreciate y'all being a part of my extended family here. So that's it for me. But really genuinely, I'm so grateful that you all are here. And if you have any experiences in the city where you just walked into like a completely strange situation where you're able to like participate in a community, or you have moments where you can kind of look back on your life, I know we're probably all doing a lot of reflecting right now. It would be really awesome to hear that. So we can open the floor now for anyone who's interested in sharing. And then if someone's talking and you get excited and remember something that's really important to you that you'd like to share, you're welcome to do that.
I think another thing, like in the spirit of like Ramadan, like just like you were saying, like if you have like anything that you have been like self-reflecting on, or that's been on your mind in this time, like it can be something that, you know, is like specifically, you know, spiritual or whatever, but it can also just be like whatever's been on your mind, or how like maybe even you've been making community in this time, because it definitely is a huge part of Ramadan to like have that like built community, or like that space that everybody can, you know, be like very welcome in. So also that. I'm gonna go run and get my charger too. So one sec.
Sachi, you're muted.
Thanks. I was saying if all else fails, I can just share family like pictures from my grandparents in Eritrea, or
I'd like to see those regardless. The pictures I have seen from your family are like really cool. I love seeing like family pictures and stuff. My mom has been getting, she just moved into a smaller house. I guess I'm telling a story now. And she's been getting like really sentimental, like ooey gooey, because we're not there. Like I'm in Brooklyn, my sister's uptown, and she's been sending us like family pictures like every day. She's just like digging stuff up as she's unpacking, like to settle into the house more. And that's been really, really lovely. I guess like came here, it's like hard to pin a specific reason down. I mean, like I've been helping with the hangouts, but a lot of the things that a lot in the story you just told, Sachi, and a lot of what Zenat was saying about like I grew up like very not religious, Jewish, like heavy on the ish is like what we would say. And in college I like took a few classes and like talked to some people that grew up like a little bit more religious than I did, and like was starting to like think about the spiritual and communal aspects of it a little more. And like in throughout this quarantine, that's been something that I've like come back to in my head and just like remembered the feeling that that sense of community gives me, I guess. So that's just something that I've been thinking about. I didn't come here planning to tell any kind of a story. I feel like I'm kind of rambling, but those are some thoughts.
If anyone wants to share.
I'll say something.
Yeah. Hi.
First, I want to say I'm really just happy to see all of y'all. That's kind of the reason I showed up, because I got love for all of you. But I don't know, listening to y'all speak has been really beautiful and touching, and got me reflecting. I grew up in like a super, super Catholic family because the Philippines is mostly Catholic. And that's been something I feel like I've been at odds with for years. So it's like really sweet to hear Zenat, you talking about, you know, choosing the ways in which you decide to like participate and relate to things. And I don't know, I've been thinking about how a lot of that is partially like we do it for our family. And I guess my example about that is that once this like pandemic started, or when the lockdown started, my mom was FaceTiming me and my brother every day at like 9 o'clock. And she'd be like, hey, what are you guys doing? You're done with work? And we're like, yeah, it's 9 o'clock. We're like eating some food. And she's like, okay, good. We're going to pray the rosary on FaceTime right now. And my mom like straight up, I don't think she knows how it works, but she doesn't even think about these things. So she like put it on FaceTime, and she'll just like put the phone face down on the table. And I just hear her talking, can't even see her. And I hear my dad's phone ringing in the background, and like all that just kind of cracked me up. And that went on for like 2 weeks. And me and my brother were like, I don't know if we can keep doing this rosary thing. But we were just doing it, you know, kind of to like make my mom feel good and to like see us do that sort of thing. And I think she got the hint when we were like, the first time we were like, hey, yeah, we're just cooking dinner right now. I don't think we're gonna, you know, do this rosary. But yeah, Sachi, I really want to see those pictures from your family. When you brought that up, I just thought about this thing that I found, because I just moved apartments a couple months ago. And I found this is a volcanic rock from this like volcano that erupted in the Philippines in 1991. And I used to play with it all the time when I was a kid. I would just like sit and look at it. And I found it the last time I went home, and I was like, I looked at my parents and I was like, hey, can I take this? And they were like, yeah, what the hell is that? I don't remember what that is. So yeah, that's my show and tell for now. But I'm just really happy to see y'all.
So happy to see you, Luigi.
Okay. So this is the one infamous picture from the flyer that I made this morning. And this is my great auntie. We call her Mama Lete, but her real name is Milite. But when we were all younger, we couldn't pronounce it, so we just call her Mama Lete because that was too many M's in a row for all of us. Yeah, and this was before they all moved over here. The reason why they moved over here is because there was a civil war, and my Mama Lete married a dude in the army. She got that connect and pulled the whole family over. But this is her and my Papa Harris, with their army friends and their wives back in the day. Whole clique looking pretty. It's a good looking group of people. I don't even know. Like,
It is.
I mean, I look at my friends sometimes and I'm like, dang, my friends are so beautiful inside and out. But this is like, they're all dressed up.
Can I make a photo zine of those?
Okay, yeah. This is my mom and all of her cousins. So when they first moved over here, they lived all together as two families in like a 1-3 bedroom house. And my mom, this is her on her birthday, with my cousin my like second cousin. I don't know how that works. Cousin Alvin, her sister, her younger sister, and her oldest sister right here. And then these are my other two cousins, or my mom's cousins. This picture is taken like, I don't know, in the 70s sometime. They all look ridiculous, but fun. And yeah, I don't know. They finally settled down in Killeen and got their own places. And this is my Mama Lete baking injera in her kitchen in Killeen as an older woman, still glowing. And this is her just flexing. And then this is kind of what came way after, which was the whole family. Me and my cousins kind of, this was the third wave, all chilling. Our first, or I guess first generation, all of us were born here, and this is like all of the grandkids all together. But yeah, my family story is kind of weird. They made their way here from Eritrea during the Civil War, lived in Germany for a little while, and got naturalized, like learned English, and then they moved to Texas where my parents met. But I think that something that's really exciting and captivating, emotionally, poignant for me is the fact that that no matter where they were, there was this little hub of community. And I had the chance to go to Frankfurt about 2 years ago and visit some of the community, like my cousins who aren't even related to me, just people that my parents or my grandparents met on their way to the US, that I thought was really interesting, that they were willing to extend themselves to me and let me crash at their place for a few nights and take me to dinner and show me around. And there really are cultural hubs all over the United States and the world where there are very niche communities of people just willing to support each other, which I'm hoping, I mean, through 8-Ball, I think that we've kind of made those relationships in New York, which is really spectacular, that like we're a new forward thinking group of people who can relate to each other and really bond. I don't think of any of you as anything short of like a family, especially those of you who I've gotten to know really well. But that's something I wanted to examine through this programming, is how we relate to each other and the ways that we can support each other and build a network in the traditional sense, of just relying on each other and looking out for each other, making sure everyone's good with no gain there's nothing to really get from that besides knowing that you took care of someone else, which I really love doing. And I'm happy that I get the chance to do that with you guys.
Sachi, can I ask you a question about the pictures?
Yeah.
Like, did your family just like give you all of these, or
Well, it's kind
on
of sad, but I guess like my mama Lete, the last time I went to go see her was a few months ago, and she's got Parkinson's. She's really getting up there in age, and my Papa Harris is getting really old, and so they're not gonna live very long, and I think they know that. And Mama Lete is actually like in hospice right now, but she was like, I'm gonna die soon, so take these pictures. So that's how I got a lot of these. And whereas my grandmother, who I love also and is also really beautiful and a good person, was just like, you can have my things when I die. Mama Lete is more like, take them while I'm alive. I'm gonna give these things to you.
Did she give these to you and tell you the stories behind them at the same time? Like, did you have to
Yeah.
ask about it, or was she just like, here, I'm gonna spill?
She was kind of just like telling me a lot of things. My grandmother is more like, will tell me really hyped up stories about our family history that I can't even tell if they're real or not, because we're drinking coffee and I'm like 3 dishes in and I'm like about to go pass out in a food coma. But like my mama Lete is more like clear and direct, and she'll definitely tell me this is who this is and that's what's going on. And if I ask her questions, and she'll definitely give me like a better, more direct insight, whereas my grandma is like, talking to her is always kind of cloudy. But I have recordings of those stories if you ever want to hear them. It's kind of crazy to hear them talk about stuff and their different perspectives. Mama Lete is the younger sister, and my grandmother's the eldest. So there's also like a certain level of resentment being like the eldest in a crazy big family and having to take care of your younger siblings and stuff like that. So yeah.
Hi. That was great. But this is great. Thank you for sharing.